Ooh, hi everybody. I hope when you listen to this live that you can hear me okay. But if you can tell by the title, I am officially a PhD candidate. I'm so excited. I officially became a PhD candidate Tuesday, June 8th, and that was because I passed my qualifying exams or comprehensive exams, however you want to call them. So, what that means is that I have demonstrated competency in industrial organizational psychology. How exciting! All these years of learning. So, today I just kind of want to walk you all through that process, what it was like for me, and what to expect for yourself going through. I mean, every single comprehensive exam is different for each program. So, what I went through at SLU, St. Louis University, you will go through something completely different. There will be patterns of similarity, but you'll go through something different. Even at a master's level, you're going to go through something different. So I just sort of want to talk to you all about how my process went, what it was like, and then give you a little insight on what's next for me. I mean, we're going to see, right? So let's talk about it. So my comprehensive exam was in two parts. The first part was written. And so the written exam, if I give you a little backstory, when I started the program, that was discussed with me that, hey, you're gonna, for qualifying exams or comprehensive exams, however your program calls it, this is what we're gonna do. And so here it was like, you're gonna have to write 50 pages of all content. That does not include sources. So it's even longer with sources, but it has to be 50 pages of content on your research area. And I remember when I first heard that, y'all, and I was sitting there like, there's no way. Like, I don't know. I was thinking in my head, like, there's no way I'll be able to do that. Like, not at all. But anyways, we came to the day, right? And even up to the day where I was proposing my comprehensive exams, I was like, I still have no idea how I'm going to do this. I have no idea. I had an outline. I worked with my professor to develop an outline on how I should go about this, but it was still very much a lot. And I was still very much like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this. And so for the written part, you have 4 months. I think it's 16 weeks, 4 months. So during that time, and let me even tell you what's meant to be included on this. It's 3 projects in one. So the first project is about your research area, and you're pretty much doing a review of your actual research domain. I like colorism in the workplace. I'm actually working on some research for it right now. So I was like, of course, this is what I'm going to look at. And you have to just review what's out there and create like some sort of model for how to, go forward with this type of research. So that's what I did. And then the second piece of that project is, and this is project 2, is you have to talk about, since I want to go applied in industrial organizational psychology, I want to go consulting, what we have to talk about within this piece is organization development, and then also talk about how you would apply your model in organization. So if somebody was to come to you and tell you you have a colorism problem, how are you going to address that? What type of trainings are you going to put in? Is this going to be a part of a larger DEI training, or is this going to be a part of a standalone training? How are you going to approach, even how are you going to assess for colorism? If somebody comes to you and they say, I have we're having some skin tone issues here. How are you going to deal with that? So all of those types of questions I had to address in project 2. And additionally, project 2 didn't just cover that, but just had to talk about organization development and change at a large area, a broader area, such as what is it? What are the principles of it? What makes it different from other, project management, management consulting, like what makes it different? And I also had to talk about the ethics. What do you have to consider when you're going, well, not just ethics, but what do you have to consider when going through with these initiatives, on the employee's part, but then also on the client's part, like, are they hiring you for a certain reason? Like all those things that you have to weed through as a consultant. So I had to address all of that in project 2. In project 3, which was the interesting piece, was all the research. So I had to talk about at a large scale how scientists have approached organization research. So here you can think of the paradigms. So you have the functionalist approach, you have the radical humanist approach, you have the radical structuralist approach, and then you also have the interpretivist approach. So I had to discuss all four of those concepts and how they approach research. Is it more qualitative, quantitative, more structural, historical? So that's how I had to do with that. And then I also had to talk about these the larger perspectives that psychologists take when they're developing their research. So you can think of social, cultural, how that influences social behavior, social learning, how that influences behavior. You can also think of evolutionary, like the adaptation or the biological genetics that influence human behavior. And then the last one is social cognition, like how that influences social behavior. And not only did I have to talk about that, I also had to incorporate how somebody, for instance, looking at colorism, how does that look like in each of those domains? How is it different? Right? So I had to express that in project 3 as well. Then I had to create a hypothetical research study on how I would, study it in the workplace or however I would do it. And I had to explain that. I also had to explain validity, reliability, different types of validity, different types of reliability, how you can assess for those, what are the the assumptions for parametric tests for the general linear model. I had to describe and discuss all of that, the different methods under that. So, and that's more statistics. It was a lot, is what I'm getting at. Okay, that paper was a lot. It took me 4 months. So once I submitted it, which was in February, I got feedback back in March. And what happened in March was that I passed, but I passed with revisions. So there were some things that they needed me to elaborate on a little bit more. So I had 4 weeks to do that. And so I did that, submitted it, and I got my feedback in, I think maybe like late April, early May, and I had passed. And so great, I passed my written piece, but there was a second piece, which was the orals. And at this point, I told you guys earlier that I was thinking, I was all about the written. I was like, dang, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. Like, I just don't know, right? I mean, and then once I submitted the written, then I started panicking about the oral piece because I'm like, oh, crap. Like, how am I even going to memorize? Like, I'm just thinking in my head, like, what am I going to do? Like, and honestly, guys, when you start studying for the oral piece of it, you realize how much you don't know. I mean, I don't know if I came to a place of intellectual humility, but I'm like, there are so many things that I just don't know, right? I mean, I just think in my head, like, man, I just don't know. Like, it's just so many, like, we feel like we know so much, and we do know a lot, but when you start thinking about it at the broader, like you don't know much. Like at the broader spectrum of everything, you really don't. So that's where my mind was going, and I was just racking up the nerves. I mean, I was just reading articles because, mind you guys, once I got that I had passed my written piece, then things started picking up for the orals. Like, it's like, okay, within 2 to 3 weeks, like you're expecting to take these oral exams. So that's what I was dealing with. And I'm just like, man, I don't know. Right. And so yeah, that's what I was dealing with. And guys, on the day of orals, I mean, I had studied so much, right? But there's only so much you can study. And I'm just like, at this point, I know what I know. Like, I got about 2 to 3 weeks to study. There's no way I'm going to know everything going into these oral exams. At this point, it is what it is. I know what I know, and we're going from there. And so I ended up, that I was just studying. And then the next day, the night before, my advisor called me. And, honestly, guys, I was doing fine, right? I was feeling good. Like, I was like, you know what? I know what I know. Like, it's cool. Like, I studied as much as I could. I prepped. And my advisor called me. He was like, hey, so I just want to call you and, see how you're doing, let you know kind of what to expect for tomorrow, how the process is going to go. It's pretty much, you can think of it as a conversation. We're just going to be asking you questions, and we want to make sure that you can stand on your own if you were getting hit with certain questions. And so I was just like, yeah, all right. And mind you, he gave me this call at 9 p.m. And I had woke up at like 5 a.m. that morning and studied till like 3. And I was like, yeah, I can't do no more. Like, this is it. Like, and then once he gave me that call, which I genuinely, I really appreciate it. I actually I don't know why, but I came to tears about it because I was like, I think because, with your family, they don't realize how big this is and how important it is, right? And I was just, and the people around you, it's not their fault. They just don't know. And I was just like, dang, like, it is what it is. But when he called me, it was like, I felt like everybody understood from that point how important it was. And I was very thankful because it wasn't that they were throwing it to the side because they were very encouraging and supportive, but it was just a different feeling. And my mom actually admitted it to me. She was like, I didn't realize how big of a deal this was, but this is a really big deal. And so, and his call it just really helped me. It just helped me calm. Like, I don't know, it just felt really good. And I told him that I was very thankful for him calling and encouraging and supporting and letting me know, like, it's going to be good. You'll be fine type of thing. He's the type of person, he won't let you get into a position if you're not ready for it yet, which is why I have reiterated to you all when I'm talking to you guys about looking for grad programs, your advisor is so important because they're really going to shape a lot of your career and your time during that program. So that's why I really encourage that for you all to really do your due diligence on who you'll be working with. But yeah, so that was good, right? So the next day comes and I'm just cramming in a little bit things, right? This is the actual day of the oral and it's at 1 p.m. So I'm like, let me cram as much as I can. And then at one point I was like, I can't cram anymore, right? And I'm just nervous. Like I'm just like, man, I'm just nervous. It is what it is. Like this, I could pass or fail this. This is all that is. So it comes, and this lasted for about an hour and 30 minutes. I was only expecting an hour. So it went longer. They were asking me lots of questions. Some of them I came to find out were rhetorical, but I still answered them, and they were a little, surprised by that. I was like, oh. But yeah, and I honestly overstudied. I did not get asked a lot of things that I thought I was going to get asked. That is not, I don't think that was due to, any reason. I think maybe time, because I talked to my advisor after it and he was like, yeah, I didn't have time to get to it. Some of the questions did trip me up. It wasn't that, they just tripped me up. I just honestly didn't know, but I still formulated an answer like to the best of my abilities. And I did say, but I'm not really sure. I was honest about that because I'm not really sure about everything, right? Like I told you, that intellectual humility is just so important. And I was like, I can't say, I just don't know, everything. So, but it went really good. I mean, I was very nervous. At one point I was talking so much that I was like, that came out. I don't know what that was about, but I just kept it moving. The show must go on. I didn't even acknowledge it. We just kept going. But at the end, so what happened was towards the end, when they were finished questionnaires, like, okay, because this was done on Zoom, they were like, we're going to put you in a breakout room and we're going to discuss. And y'all, like I was sitting there, they took like a good, probably like maybe 7 minutes to discuss to see if I answered their questions adequately and they feel like I did, I can hold my own. And I was, during that 5 to 7 minutes, I was trying to keep calm. The first 3 minutes, I'm like, all right, I did pretty well. And then, the next few minutes, you're like, wait a minute, I ain't heard nothing yet. Like, maybe I didn't do as good as you thought. So I'm just sitting there like, oh, shit. So when that happened, I was like, all right. It is what it is when they come back. And then they came back and they were like, well, congratulations, young lady. And I was like, yes, I'm so thankful. Like, y'all, I was really ecstatic because if you was to ask me like a few years ago, how do you think I'm gonna do? Or what do you, whatever. I was gonna be like, I don't know. I don't even know if I'm gonna get through that piece because it's so much. It just felt so overwhelming to me. Like I just felt like I wouldn't be able to tackle it or whatever, but I did. Just taking it a day at a time during this whole process, just a day at a time. So thank you, Jasmine. I appreciate that. But so here I am. I'm officially a PhD candidate. It feels a little weird. I ain't gonna lie, but I'm happy. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have this status. For any of you all getting ready to, approach this or do your oral comps and all of that, good luck. I know it's a lot. You can always feel free to reach out to me for any advice or tips or even your cohort. Like I did tap into a lot of my network because I was going through it. It wasn't for like, for some I asked like, Like, how do you prepare for this, right? Like, how did you even prepare for this? Like, what did you do? What was the experience like? But they can only give you so much, right? And it was just, it's still nice to just tap. For some of them, I just tapped in to tell them how nervous I am, right? And they were very anchoring and helpful and like, you got it. As long as you can, explain yourself, you have a good leeway to go forward. So yeah, so here we are. And after it, celebrating, my dad sent me some money to get a really nice, restaurant, get some food. And my mom sent me some really nice Ethel chocolates and some crunchies, which is a British candy. And I'm really excited to eat that, but I can't eat that all in one setting. And yeah, honestly, immediately after the test, I just kind of, well, it wasn't a test, but immediately after, I just kind of sat there for a while. And I called everybody and I told everybody, I told Facebook, I told Instagram, but I just kind of chilled for a minute and was like, wow, I can just relax now. Like, cause I had just been going since October, really. Like, and I think that's when it all started, from the proposal all the way to the orals. And I hadn't had a chance to just relax. And I was like, you know what? I'm relaxing the rest of June. But I think that's a lie, right? Because I already got some plans in my head for what's next for me. Definitely looking into career jobs more. And it's actually been it's been hard because a lot of them are looking for experience and I just don't have as much experience. I do have some consulting experience. Most of it for organization change and development, a lot of it has centered around diagnosing, so assessment, and a lot of it has centered around HR interventions, such as training and development, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and some selection. So it hasn't necessarily been on a larger level, like the strategy and acquisition, like those types of concepts, I haven't had experience in. It's just a matter of I just haven't had the chance to experience it. That's it. It wasn't something that kept me back from it. So I'm just working on that, getting my resume out there, improving my interview skills. Interviews are so important. And I'm just looking for ways to make sure that I can, articulately express myself like well, and really integrate the experiences that I have into these interviews. And, really, I don't want to say selling, but just trying to show that I can provide value. So that is something that I am navigating the waters in, and it's definitely something I will keep you guys up to date with. But yeah, that is it. I'm super excited. Obviously, I have dissertation next, so that's something I'm hoping to propose by September. Maybe a little sooner. We'll see. You never know. But as long as I'm really praying that I can be finished by early next year, at least by the end of spring, and that way, it's up from there. That's all I gotta say is up from there, right? I have a lot of ideas in my head with how I want to go about my career, but one step at a time, a day at a time, and that's just how I have to approach it. Just like I approached it with the comps, right? And whenever you guys get to that place, it's really nice to have an outline. That definitely helped me so much, and it was a quality outline. So for the written piece, that was perfect. Like literally every single week, I was jumping onto a new subject and how I was going to approach it. So it's perfect if you have a written outline. But yes, so that was how my comprehensive exams went. This is what's up next for me. Thank you guys for all your support. And yeah, I will see you guys on the next video. Hopefully it will be more frequent just because of how things were going these past few weeks. It just has not been as frequent as I wanted to. I do have some updates. I mean, I moved, I got a new car, which I'm so excited about and I love so far. So yeah, I really want to give you guys all of that background story or background behind the scenes type of thing. So I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.